Kia listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton, welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to join me on X or Twitter at Let's Learn Sumo. Also, these pods are restreamed on YouTube at Let's Learn Sumo, as well as the odd video content. I think I'll need to do another video on Terunofuji. We started with the news on day 6 that Terunofuji, the 73rd Yokozuna, had announced his intention to retire. 10 Yusho Championship trophies. Over 14 years, he debuted in sumo in 2011, won his first Juryo Yusho in 2013 on debut, debuted in Makuuchi 2015, 25 bashos. It took him only 8 to get to Ozeki that first time, went Kataban and got demoted in 2017 after a string of knee troubles. Fell down to Jonodan, I think it's about 41 in March 2019 after a long injury layoff. Returned to Makuuchi in 2020, won in July 2020. Returned to Ozeki and won his 3rd championship, and then again in May of 2021. Runner-up in July of 2021. 38 victories, Yusho at Sekiwake, Yusho at Ozeki, Jun Yusho at Ozeki for his Yokozuna promotion. What a career. After he got to Yokozuna, obviously he won his first as Yokozuna in September 21, then his second in November of 2021, then May 2022, May 2023, January 24, and his last Yusho last year in July 2024. He took on Japanese citizenship, but in the end, we all saw last year, injury accounted for a lot of his time on the sidelines, and he finally, after his loss to Tobizaru the other night, called it a day. And so that is the end of Tobizaru. We are now in a no Yokozuna period. So I'll go through that a little bit later. Let's get on to day 6 matches. Kitanowaka, he moved to 4-2, beating Toki Hayate. Little Yorikiri, easy belt walk out there. Hakuoho lost to Onakatsu. Put up a fight, but Onakatsu worked him to the bales. Yorikiri. Kimbozan, he moved to the shared lead of 6 wins after a win over the big Kagayaki. Meisei drove Nishikigi hard off the tachi-eye for an easy Yorikiri. Terunofuji, he power thrusted Tsurunomi in his former style that we're used to, another Yorikiri there. Midorifuji, he tried for a shoulder lockup, but Oshoma, he just locked him up and kept control of that arm. Midorifuji tried to disengage and re-attack, but Oshoma, he got a good hand behind Midorifuji's head, pulled him off balance, then an easy Oshidashi at the side of the bales. Takarafuji handed Tamawashi his first loss. A good touchy-eye and a disengage, pulled Tamawashi through to get behind for an Okuridashi. That put Tamawashi his first loss on 5-1. Endo just retreated on a keen Ichiyamamoto until Ichiyamamoto went over mainly by himself. Hikiyatoshi, though, pull down, they called it. Chiyoshima beat Mitakayumi Watanabe to take the joint lead at 6 wins. He got a hand on the belt and his leg in the way of Mitakayumi as he pulled Mitakayumi around and down at the bales. Hiradumi, he got a belt and walked Ura back over. Yorikiri there. Oho pounded a mobile Tobizaru, I should say, from the ring, but he did have to chase him a fair bit. Kirishima, he exchanged a couple of thrusts with Daisho before retreating and giving a very committed Daisho a slap down. Hikiyatoshi, they called it though. Wakamoto Haru and Takanosho, they battled. Wakamoto Haru drove Takanosho to the bales, but he just couldn't finish him off. Takanosho used the Nodowa to effect and then disengaged, and again Wakamoto Haru flew forward and fell to the ground. Wakataka Kage, or should I call him Waka Henka Kage, does a Henka on the Henka King himself, Abi, for the win. A little bit of karma there. Onosato, he grabbed Shodai's arm and walked him out Yorikiri. Hoshoryu, he needed nothing but wins now if he wants to be Yokozuna, faced with a big charge from Goniyama. Hoshoryu got a good sideways deflection and got to the side, wrapped Goneyama and helped him out. They called it a kuridashi rear push out, so that was a good win. One of the stranger fights with a struggling Kotozukura and Atamifuji though. Atami and Kotozukura locked up belts as Atamifuji worked Kotozukura back to the bales. The Shimpan judge down on the floor, behind Kotozukura, threw his hand up as Kotozukura's foot looked to be close to touching out. My first reaction was that he didn't touch out, but the Gyoji, seeing the Shimpan's hand go up, he threw the Gumbai, and he threw it for Atamifuji. Kotozukura knew that the Gumbai had gone up, so he gave up. He hadn't gone out at that point. The judges, the Shimpans, they called a mono-e, they had a conversation, and they looked at where they thought Kotozukura's foot had landed out, but they determined that Kotozukura hadn't actually touched his foot outside the ring. The chief judge called a Yoro Naoshi, or a restart after a mistake, different from a Tori Naoshi, which is a redo match. Luckily, Atamifuji got hold of Kotozukura's arms. Kimadashi had 2 goes at it and walked Kotozukura out yet again. Last time that happened was in 2002 with Goedo and Himenifuji. An embarrassing mistake to be sure back then and now. So on to day 7. Tamashoho tried a henka on Hakuoho, but he wasn't successful. And once Hakuoho got the belt, he eventually forced Tamashoho over. Yorakiri Kinbozan, one of the joint leaders, used his big reach on Toki Hayate. A couple of good thrusts back and over Oshidashi. 7 wins, no losses going into Sunday first week. Kita Nowaka tried a half a henka to get onto Onakatsu's belt and back to the bales, but Onakatsu, he fought hard, got his left in right outside belt grip worked, Kitanowaka around and back over the bales. Tamawashi and Nishikigi, they hit hard at the tachi and freeze up in the centre. Nishikigi's got a left, Tamawashi has a right hand. Their hands were locked up on the other side. Tamawashi, he released, got a grab on Nishikigi, pulled him down. Tamawashi now on 6 wins. Oshoma waits and gets a hold of Takerufuji's right arm, tries to pull him around. Takerufuji got a good double hold on Oshoma, moves him to the bales before he lets him go and fairly heavily Oshidashi'd him into the second row. Quite a push. 6 wins for Takerufuji, his week's going well. Roga, he went Kyujo again after 2 days and 2 losses. Chiyoshoma picked up the easy win there. Ura got a win over Ichi Yamamoto. Ura drove Ichi Yamamoto back and out with a flying forward Superman, as Ura does. And Ichi, he did an Ura and flew backwards over the bales, Ura style. Gyoje called it for Ura without the need for a mono-e. It was a fairly easy Shinatai dead body there for Ichi Yamamoto. He was fairly fully up and going backwards over the bales, so that was no need for the Shimpans to intervene there. The Gyoji does have the ability to call it dead body. That's just the way it goes. Hirodumi, he got an easy drive-out win on Endo for 3 wins. Shodai got hold of Tobizaru's arm. Look, Tobizaru defended really well. Tobizaru got an inside belt grip, a left belt, and used it to control Shodai around, got him off balance, dragged Shodai to the bales, a kuridashi as he pulled Shodai off balance. Not a good week for Shodai at 2 wins. Tobizaru having a very good week at 5 wins. 2 Ozekis and a retirement-inducing Kinboshi on the Yokozuna for Tobizaru. What a week. Kirishima, he faced Wakataka Kage, got hold of his arm off the tachi and just pulled him around and out. Totari arm pull. Pretty good there for Kirishima. 4 wins now. Daisho, he gave a good thrashing to Wakamoto Haru, back to the bales, then disengaged, pulled him down. Wakamoto Haru flew forward and down. Hiki Itoshi pulled down there. Onosato, he faced Atamifuji. Onosato got onto the right belt and then used his left to control Atami's elbow. They struggled for a while, but eventually Onosato used his grip and elbow to roll Atami's balance and got him into a position to yorakiri him over the bales. Good Ozeki win there. Hoshoryu, and this was my most anticipated match for the night, faced a dangerous opponent in Oho, strong and fast. Some good thrusting off the tachiai by Hoshoryu as Oho gets back into the bales. Hoshoryu then tried to pull him through as they moved to the other side of the dohyo. Oho is just off balance and Hoshoryu gets around to his side to grab hold of him, pull him over off balance. He's now right behind Oho, wraps him up and runs him across the ring and down Okuri Tayoshi, rear push down. A really good win there by the Ozeki. That could have gone either way for him, 6-1. On to the last fight of the night. Korizakura having a terrible week. Looking for some change of his luck. Well, how did it go? He pulled out a black Mawashi belt. So sometimes this happens when people think they need a change of luck. They do attach a lot of luck and experience to each Mawashi, so it's quite unusual to see someone so senior change it. Anyway, facing up to Goniyama, Goniyama drove Korizakura back to the bales, but Korizakura, he got a left inside belt. Goniyama had a left inside body, right outside belt. Goniyama tries to work Korizakura back to the bales, but Korizakura turned him around. They escape at the last minute and break up again. Goniyama goes into Korizakura's chest for a drive, but Korizakura retreated and pushed Goniyama down to the side as Goniyama flies to the Twara face first. Suki Itoshi pushed down, thrust down. So that is the end of day 7. As we know, Terunofuji is gone. He finished on 2-3. He's now retired. Korizakura, he is on 2-5. He is in deep trouble. A lot of work to do in the second week. Hoshoryu doing well, 6-1. That only single loss. Onosato, 4-3. Wakamoto Haru in deep strife, 1-6. Daisho, 5-2, and cruising along. Abi, 4-3. Wakataka Kage at Komusubi, 3-4. Takanosho at Magashira 1, 2-5. Kirishima, 4-3. Magashira 2, Tobizaru, 5-2. Atami Fuji, 2-5. Magashira 3, Goniyama, 4-3. Oho, 6-1, and in that joint second place with Hoshoryu. Shodai, 2-5 at Magashira 4 with Ura, 3-4. Hirodumi, 3-4, and Chiyoshima at Magashira 5, 7-0, joint lead. Takayasu, 4-3. Ichiyamamoto, 4-3 at Magashira 6. Endo and Mitakayumi at Magashira 7. Endo, 3-4. Mitakayumi, work to do, 2-5. Roga's now out, no wins. Takarafuji at Magashira 8, 3-4. Tsurunumi at Magashira 9, 3-4. Oshoma at Magashira 9, 4-3. Tamawashi, Magashira 10, having a good week, 6-1. Meisei 2-5. Midori Fuji having a shocker, needs to do something. That Juryo barge is looming over him and his form, 1-6. Takeru Fuji, still there, equal to Hoshoryu, 6-1. Nishikigi, 4-3. Onakatsu, 4-3. Shonanumi, 2-5. Kodoshoho, 1-6. Hokuto Fuji's out. Kyujo still. Kimbozan, joint lead with that big reach, 7-0. Hakuoho just going along average, 4-3. Kitanawaka, 4-3. Tamashoho, 2-5. Kageyaki, 2-5. Nishiki Fuji doing okay at 4-3. And Toki Hayate on his return, 3-4. So that's it, the end of day 7. It is turning into a very interesting tournament, despite the fact we've lost a Yokozuna. Look, it should be interesting coming into Sunday. Let's see if Hoshoryu can drive it through the second week for Yokozuna promotion, I should say. Korizakura, he needs a few wins now, 6 wins to avoid Karaban status. That's it, everyone. Hakioi, let's learn sumo.